Once Upon a Time, If You Can Believe, a podcast of which one can hardly conceive. 3 sorcerers planned to take over the world, examples they discussed and plans they unfurled. When in an offence, if any are caught, what they've said is for humour, not actually thought. Sit back, relax, take in the narration, and enjoy this here episode of World Domination. Oh my god, my eyes are like fucking going cross-eyed.
Well, welcome to World Domination, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone.
I'm your host, Slither Jim.
And I'm your host, Ravenclaw.
And I'm Emma Watson.
So welcome to Season 2. I don't remember whether we made this clear at the end of Season 1, but Season 2 is fantasy season, if that wasn't clear from the new show art and the new show theme.
I think we left it because we had no idea what we were going to do this season. I think we left it very, we're going to do something different. It's a fantasy.
Different.
Not exactly sure when this episode is going to come out. If it's before the Area 51 raid, shine on you crazy diamonds. If it's after the Area 51 raid, my condolences to your families.
Oh, jeez.
And if this is after Area 51, wasn't that alien weird looking?
So how was everyone's break?
I had a wonderful time off, and as I mentioned just before we broke, I was about to finish up jobs and transfer over, so it's been a bit hectic, but my brain's fried, but I'm getting there.
Good.
Yeah. And I've turned a year older in the break too, so it's been a wild ride.
God, we haven't been gone that long, have we?
Well, I'm older. How was everybody else's break?
Yeah, mine was pretty good. Same as always. I've counted. I've been to 6 yoga lessons so far.
Oh.
And
6?
Yes, 6.
Wow.
And no one's offered me to join a cult yet, so not sure if that's a win or a lose, but
You got to go to at least 7.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Next week.
Next week
You're in.
Oh,
That's a 7. 7's a serious number. They know you're serious about yoga from there. How was your break, Jim?
Yeah, how was your break, Jim?
Yeah, it was okay. It was sad coming up with plans to take over the world all on my own.
Wait.
Right.
What?
Okay.
You try to take over the world without us?
No. I said I came up with plans on my own.
Okay,
I couldn't do anything without you guys.
Jim.
Because we needed to rate it and question it and make sure that you weren't going to do anything stupid.
There's a whole QA process here.
There is.
So welcome back, everyone, to your favourite podcast about world domination. We're going to keep the structure of the show broadly the same as it was in Season 1. But for Season 2, we're going to focus pretty much on one particular property per episode rather than doing a particular theme.
Yep.
So today's episode, if you are incapable of reading the show title, is about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter has returned to Hogwarts.
Has he?
I don't know.
I mean, he graduated.
Yeah.
In what? No, he graduated in 1999. Well, no, he didn't technically graduate, but the Battle of Hogwarts was in 1999.
Oh, that's right. He skipped school for the last 2 years, went around and travelled.
Such a nice way to put it. You took a gap year.
It took a gap year to kill a wizard. So a couple of housekeeping things that we wanted to just tick off before we get into the episode proper. I did just want to call out one piece of listener feedback that we got. Thank you everyone who sent in feedback to the show. I'm just kidding. It was only one of you, but thank you.
But we appreciated it.
We really appreciated it.
You took the time to compose an email.
Thank you.
So I did want to read this out. They have signed it anonymous, but I did just want to say that their email address was their first name dot their last name. So you know who you are.
And
we know who
also
you are.
do.
But thank you.
Thanks, Anonymous.
So it says, "Hey, World Domination team. Just wanted to drop a quick line and let you know how much I'm enjoying this podcast. I've been an avid listener from the start, brackets, humbly, comma, I think I'm your biggest fan, winky emoji, close brackets. Keep up the great work, and know that I've been taking notes and plan to put some of your finer Dom plans into effect once the crowdfunding money lands in my bank account. Signed, Anonymous."
You'll be waiting a while for that money, Anonymous, but we appreciate you writing in.
If you have a crowdfunding money connection, feel free to set us up. I can do with some cash.
Yes.
I also like money. So another thing we've set up in the break, so we haven't just been sitting on our asses, is that
Well, I have.
Yep, same.
Well, actually, yeah, we're in front of a computer, so so we have set up a couple more social media accounts. So we're going to start getting a little bit more out there on the socials. I don't know if that's what the kids are saying these days. I don't know. So we can be found on Twitter and Instagram at the handle at WorldDomPodcast. So please feel free to reach out to us, and you'll probably see a little bit more in the coming weeks. But yeah, like and follow.
And hang around to the end of the episode. We have a little bit of surprise about our social media accounts.
Yes, stay tuned, friends. It sounded really creepy. I'm sorry, friends. Please stick around.
So why don't we get into Harry Potter? I don't know if it bears saying, but forewarning, this is probably going to be fairly spoiler heavy, at least for like the latter half of the books. So if you're not familiar with the plot of Harry Potter, we are going to be talking quite a fair bit about it.
And where have you been living for the past, 20 years?
Like, honestly, where have you been living? Spoiler warning, we'll sound the spoiler horn now.
Horns.
I'm going to work with it. You have been warned. Was it just me that was a huge Harry Potter nerd when I was in primary school?
Yeah, you know what? I actually remember I've read the first book. I think I read the first 2 chapters of the first book back in primary school days. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't my thing.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't until, what was it? You guys, I was talking to you as I was reading through them, like last year or the year before, I finally read all of the Harry Potter books 2 years ago. I'd seen all the movies and, enjoyed them, but yeah, hadn't read the books until 2 years ago.
I fucking love those books.
Yeah, they're great.
I know you do.
I used to just reread them over and over again in primary school. I think I read the first 4 back when those were the only ones, like 5 times each.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you also have a lot of friends, Jim?
No. Harry Potter's a lame-ass kid, and Harry Potter was too cool for me.
Yeah. Harry Potter was definitely a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
He was popular, like super popular.
Oh, nobody would have given any shit about him if fucking Voldemort hadn't have tried to kill him when he was a baby. Nobody would have given 2 shits who he was.
I mean, his parents might have.
Okay, fucking Lily and James then. 2 people. That's it. Maybe his godfather. Like, whatever. Nobody else.
I mean, he still would have become a seeker, I believe.
Maybe.
No,
Probably.
Like, he would still been a great seeker. That whole sequence there didn't really have anything to do with him being Harry Potter,
No, but wasn't it because, didn't he start playing because his dad played or something though?
No, he impressed McGonagall by getting a Remember-all back.
Yeah, the Remember-all, yeah.
Ah, that's right. Well, I guess for those listeners who do live under a rock, should we give a bit of an overview of the story of Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Talk us through it.
Broad strokes of Harry Potter. The story starts when Harry Potter is 1 year old, I want to say. And it starts on the night that his parents are murdered. So a dark wizard named Voldemort kills Harry's parents. Like Batman.
Basically a wizard Batman.
Oh my gosh.
Except for the, mental competency, physical strength, martial arts ability.
Good looks.
Yeah. The thing that makes Harry so special is that Voldemort comes to kill him and he fails. This has never happened before.
Good one.
Nobody has survived before when Voldemort has come to kill them, and nobody's sure why. But it left Harry with a lightning scar on his forehead, and this gives him some connection to Lord Voldemort. You don't find this out until book 3, but Voldemort killed Harry's parents because there was a prophecy made that the person who would ultimately kill Voldemort would be born to someone who met the description of Harry's parents. So it's a children's book, so most of the books take place in a school for wizards called Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, which is the school that Harry attends. And there's 7 books in total, and each one of them generally deals with thwarting some kind of plan to help Lord Voldemort come back to power. Eventually he comes back to power, and the last kind of third of the book series is dealing with his return to power and ultimately defeating him.
Yeah. In preparation for this podcast, I actually watched the first 4 movies and realized none of them had anything to do with him getting back into power.
The 4th one does.
It does. But yeah, poor planning on my part.
The first 4 are the fun ones.
Actually, they're super fun.
Before the adult busy work of governing comes into play.
Yeah.
So in the end, there's a final showdown between Harry and Lord Voldemort. It turns out that Lord Voldemort had been doing this trick to get immortality, where he split his soul into a number of inanimate objects, which is why he didn't die when he tried to kill Harry. And in order to kill Voldemort, you first have to destroy these trinkets called Horcruxes. So what do you guys think it was that made Harry Potter so popular?
I don't know. I think it was just something different. Do you know what? It's one of those things that you can never quite explain why something is so massive. I think it was just such a different world, but I think as well what it brought was the real world into a fantasy world in a way. And I think it was just that gave kids something to kind of think about that, this is, especially the kids in England where it was set, that, this is, he's just living an ordinary life. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden his eyes are open to this whole other world that was there. So I think for kids it's a great escape to thinking that, not that everybody's life is terrible, but, that there's something else out there.
Yeah. And every kid wants to be special. So, when you pair that up with, the amazing adventures of Harry Potter, it's sort of like, oh yeah, that could be me. So, I'm still waiting for my letter.
Well, keep waiting.
I think the thing I identified most with about Harry is about how clueless he is to like what's going on around him.
He just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, like that's like I don't really notice anything that's going on around me. Like there's a moment in I think it's in like book 3 or 4 where they need to go to talk to Hermione in the girls' dormitory.
Oh, yeah.
And so they go to see her in the girls' dormitory, and when they try and run up the stairs turn into a slide and throw them back down. Yeah. And like at this point they've been there for like 4 years. And like they never thought to try and walk up those stairs, or like never noticed when anybody else tried to walk up them.
Yeah, but girls have cooties, so why would they want to go up there?
Or why don't the boys' stairs have the same thing?
Actually, that's true. Because doesn't Hermione and the other girls walk up there?
Yeah.
They make a comment about how like the founders of Hogwarts thought boys were way more untrustworthy than girls.
That's because that's 100% true. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Neither of you ever retort to that.
Unfortunately, I can't outright disagree with her.
No, straight up. But I think out of Harry Potter, let's be honest, we all know Harry Potter and the absolute massive bloody franchise that it is in itself has, pretty much taken over the world. Where you've got all the movies, obviously, that came out of the books. You've got Broadway plays, you've got theme parks, you've got the movies themselves then led into those, the Fantastic Beasts franchise as well, which has earned a fair amount of coin. Like, it's just insane that I think it was £2,500 for the Philosopher's Stone back in 1997. And to think of where everything is now, it's just crazy. So that in itself, that's one way to take over the world.
What I'll say is this is a fantastic argument in favour of the welfare state, because she was a goddamn welfare queen when she wrote that first book.
Yes, she was.
She's a goddamn single mum welfare queen living in Scotland on the goddamn taxpayers' dole.
Well, look, she's helped the world. At least she did something while she was on it.
Yeah, but this is my argument in favour of the dole.
Oh, okay. So basically, if you're on the dole, create Harry Potter or something like it. Yeah, you too
can be a multi-billionaire.
Well, the thing is, right, she was crowned as a billionaire, but lost that status.
Didn't she donate a lot of it?
Because she donated, I think it was like $160 million to charity, and it took her off the billionaire list.
It's very noble of her.
What a nice person, yeah. And another fun fact, in 2018, it was calculated that for every minute, she earned £142. Every minute of 2018.
Oh, I thought you meant like every minute she worked on Harry Potter.
No. Every minute in 2018.
And I'm like, that's not like that much money.
No, in 2018.
But for every minute of 2018.
Yeah.
Like when she didn't do anything, really. That's not bad.
Not bad. Jeez, all right.
I will say, though, that, like, there's a bit of, like, internet sentiment that J.K. Rowling is basically becoming a villain in real life.
Oh, yeah. She's,
I do love her tweets.
Because she's basically come out and started, like, retconning a lot of the things in her work. Like, announcing that before flushing toilets were introduced into Hogwarts, wizards would just shit where they were and just magic it away.
Yes.
Which I would argue, what did the first year wizards do?
Wait, so no, they all had bathrooms. I know you were talking about something else like before that, but you're talking about first year wizards as in like first year Hogwarts students, right?
Yeah, what did first year Hogwarts students do before the introduction of bathrooms into Hogwarts? Because supposedly they would just shit where they stood and somebody else would have to magic their shit away? Like,
surely with magic you can just not go.
Wasn't that the whole point of Chamber of Secrets, that they...
Is that their Chamber of Secrets?
That's what I call my butthole.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I think even in, she was saying that she wishes that she'd never killed off, was it Fred or George? I can never remember which one actually died.
Fred.
But like even just things like that, like keep it to yourself. Like, or at least come up with some sort of reasoning as to why you did it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to stick with it. It's out there now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what did she do about that? Did she?
No, she just tweeted that she wished that she hadn't killed him off.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, you kind of think that, when you're reading it or watching it, you're like, fuck, he didn't have to die. But you kind of thought that, well, there had to be some sort of deeper purpose for it to show that, family and friends and, that nobody's safe and how, it affected everybody rather than just keeping all of the main characters alive and basically unaffected. But then for her to just come out and say that she should never have killed him off was just kind of a bit of a slap in the face of, well, there actually wasn't a deeper meaning behind it.
Aww.
Anyway, that was my take on it.
I don't know. There's just all sorts of weird things. Like, like somebody asked her, why are there no Jews at Hogwarts? And like, it's a children's book, guys. Like, come on.
There probably was.
And that she said his name was Anthony Goldstein. I'm like, okay, come on. Like, why are you responding to this? And B, why did you give him the most stereotypical Jewish name ever?
I guess we should probably talk about, given the theme of our podcast, what is the plan for taking over the world?
See, this is the thing. I don't really know what Voldemort's plan was. He just kind of has this vague thing of like, oh, I guess I'll kind of be puppet master of the government, and then, step 3, profit.
Yep. The thing is, he was really obsessed with the school. Like, it would have been, like, the school would have been the perfect place. But Voldemort is always jumping back into the school to find ways to revive himself or kill Harry Potter. And, with Harry at school the whole time, there's so much else, so much more he could do.
And I think this is one thing that J.K. Rowling does quite well, is that she kind of draws out the similarities between Harry and Voldemort. Like, they're both kind of not loved by their parental figures, and they both kind of like see the school as their refuge.
Yeah.
Voldemort more so in that he sees the institution of the school as his refuge rather than like the people that are there, which is what Harry does.
Yeah.
And so he really wants the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher position, and that's all he ever wanted in life, and Dumbledore wouldn't let him have it.
Aww.
I think he did want to take over the world because he didn't get everything that he wanted from Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Besides the role as Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and that, the one thing that he failed at in life was killing Harry. And it was just this thing that he was like, well, before I can actually tackle the rest of the world and whatever, this is what I have to do. And so he'd obviously created this following before he, was foiled by Harry Potter. And then that happened. And then basically since then it was, well, this is what my step 1 is. And he was just stuck in that, this is what has to be done before I can move to step 2.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Just skip step 1, come back to it once you've fucking dominated the world, Voldemort.
Yeah. And like, he did have some other things that he wanted to do after he gained power. Like, he talks a lot about like
getting rid of all the muggles, or
putting the muggles in their place or something like that. I don't know how, like, they never really go into like what he actually does to that end. It's just kind of this vague goal that he has.
But I guess as well, like, one thing I guess I don't quite understand is that, I mean, I kind of understand why the wizarding world is hidden, but surely with magic, they can just take over the muggles.
Yeah.
Like, so for that, fucking good on you, Voldemort.
Yeah, you get a D- for...
I'm not condoning mass killings that Voldemort was trying to bloody do, but like...
He didn't accomplish anything.
If I had magical powers, I'd be all up on that, trying to fuck with the muggles.
Yeah, he had like a year in power, basically.
Yeah.
A year in power. Oh, is this like in the books?
In the books, he had like a year where he was directly in control of the Ministry of Magic, or at least like indirectly in control.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the best villain in terms of like his plan for world domination. He's a good villain in that he's like, scary and,
entertaining,
attractive.
Very.
Look, as Tom Riddle, yeah.
No.
What are you... Okay, you're into some
You
weird
can get real
shit,
close when you make out when he has no nose.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I feel like because we're kind of spilling over into the territory of our next section, which is our villain appreciation moment, chilling with the villain.
Woo!
We're quite catchy this season, guys. So as you said, so Voldemort was once known as Tom Riddle.
Named after his father.
Tom Marvolo Riddle, which, if you rearrange the letters, forms I am Lord Voldemort, which really seems like a cheat. It's like Tom Riddle. Oh, and his middle name is Marvolo.
Malvolo.
Do you think that, like, you know, I'm just thinking of like Tom sitting there is like, okay, well, what's my fucking villain name gonna be? And like just starts rearranging his names. Like, how does he?
I meant that's a cheat by J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know, but I'm just saying that, like, if you think about, okay, that it is what it is. How did he fucking, like, why Voldemort? Like, was he just rearranging? He's like, what are you doing?
To be honest, when I read it as a kid, I was like, oh my god, J.K. Rowling's a genius. She thought this ahead in time.
Maybe she did. I don't know.
It means flight of death in French.
Ooh, damn.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
It was François.
But I guess I don't remember enough to talk about his parents. I remember vaguely, but he didn't have the best upbringing.
No, this is another like interesting thing that J.K. Rowling does. So his mother was a witch and his father was a muggle, and she thought he was just so dreamy. He was the rich boy that lived on the manor at the top of the hill, and she gave him a love potion so that he would fall in love with her. But apparently in the wizarding world, if you are conceived as the result of a love potion, you are incapable of feeling love, which I imagine a non-zero amount of babies are born as a result of love potions in the wizarding world. So there must be like some sort of, they must have had to deal with this at some point.
I feel like there'd be quite a few, for sure.
Yeah, and like love potions aren't strictly illegal.
But even if you're thinking about it, you know, people in the Muggle world would probably take in mushrooms and ecstasy and stuff for a bit of freaky time. I'm sure a love potion would give you a bit of an oomph. Why wouldn't they? Maybe that's what they used. And then just nobody feels love. That's
love potion
depressing.
number 9, now with 4/5 of a Viagra tablet sprinkled in there.
But you know what I mean? Like, because you think about it, like, I'm just picturing, you know, remember when Ron had it and he was just going absolutely insane and there was just so much, and you're just like, well, surely if two people took it and they were in love with each other.
Yeah, what happens if
It'd be
two
intense.
people take it like at the same time?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what it'd be fucking intense.
Damn.
Exactly.
Hey.
Precisely.
Exactly. Yes, pun intended.
Nice.
Much like Harry, he doesn't have loving parents, but he ends up in an orphanage where he is kind of like this little sadistic shithead that like tortures the other kids that live there. Eventually he gets his letter to Hogwarts and he gets to come, and he finds out that like he too is...
You're a wizard.
Doesn't Dumbledore go and visit him in the orphanage?
He does.
And then
Yeah.
be like, ah.
Yeah. So I guess with all of that in mind, how do you rate Voldemort and his plan to take over the world?
There's a bit more to his motivations, I think. So he got to school, and at that point he started researching his father and his family, and he came to the conclusion that his father's a muggle, and that's sort of what sparked his poor childhood, and that's why he wanted to kill all the muggles.
Which is confusing because he is half muggle.
Yes, exactly. Then he's all about, like, you know, the most pure blood, you know, should be wizards and things like that. And, you know, even people that are, you know, wizards with muggle parents are still a no-go for him. So that was the weird thing.
Yeah, even the like, what do they call them? The mudbloods. Even like racism.
Racism!
Yeah.
Racism bad, kids.
Look, I think if I'm going to rate Voldemort, I think, look, overall, I think he had a good plan, and I think in some ways, I feel like he did achieve what he kind of set out to do, but I just think he got too caught up in bloody Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I think he could have easily, if he had just have steered away from Harry, did whatever he needed to do, and then came back for him or whatever it is, plan done. Well done, you know? Cheers to Voldemort. But he didn't. So for that, he loses points. So I'd probably give him, if we're doing it out of 10, give him about let's say a solid 6.5.
Ooh, a credit.
You're such a nerd.
I think I'm going to go a different route. So like, the thing that strikes me about Voldemort is he could have done much better, but he's just he's so vain, which is funny because he looks like a fucking snake. But like, he's just so obsessed with his own achievements and like thinking that he's the best. His Horcruxes that he uses to like escape death, they all have to be these meaningful objects, which just make them way easier to find.
Yeah, I get you.
And like, he's so obsessed with his own power that he doesn't see like any of the obvious shit coming. I don't know. I think, he could have done a lot better if he was more pragmatic. So I'm giving him 45, a conceded pass.
Oh, wow. Conceded pass.
Conceded pass.
Oh, I mean, things never went really well for him. He got super obsessed with Harry. He did take over the ministry for a while, which was a plus for him. But, he just never cleaned up properly. And
he cleaned up them muggles.
yeah, exactly. So now, in terms of like, he's got a lot of passion. I give him that.
So you're giving him
10
an
out of a 10 for 10 out of 10 for passion.
effort. But I think his plan and execution were both pretty bad. So it would be a fail for him. I'll give him a 4 out of 10.
Oh.
Yes. Overall, that would average to a 5 out of 10.
All right. You're okay.
You're
Voldemort.
okay.
You're
That's a
okay.
pass.
He gave
Please
us
get degrees.
Yep, he gave us a lot of
Don't I know
entertainment,
it?
so thank you.
Okay, so should we move on to what our plans would be?
The domination formulation?
Yee.
Yeah.
I think you should go first, Ken.
Ooh, I should go first. Okay. Well, firstly, my plan is is a continuation of Voldemort's final goal, and there are a few things that I considered. It's that his origin story is that his parents were conceived him via the use of a love potion, so he's not capable of love. And then there's also the fact that he died and then spent 14 years trying to come back to life. So he's pretty patient. So my plan is to start a love potion factory and then transfigure myself into a real life Cupid.
Oh my god.
After that, I'll start a whole religion about me
Religion.
and spread and I'll tell people that I'm here to spread love. I'm Cupid, And then I'll drug every couple with a love potion, especially ones that are about to have kids.
You mean about to have kids in that they're pregnant,
no.
or like they're just thinking about having kids?
People who are thinking about having
We'll be
kids.
in a minute, I'll tell you that.
Exactly. and then I'll let them have the kids who don't know how to love, okay? And they don't love people, so they don't have kids, right? And after this, I do this for about 2 generations, and then after that, I think Muggles will be bred out. Ta-da!
But nobody knows how to love.
Muggles.
Not seeing a problem here.
Muggles don't know how to love.
That's true, yeah.
Oh my god.
Ta-da!
That's just so fucking depressing.
It's pretty bad.
But how are you dominating the world?
Well, the thing is, in this case, I'm trying to create a world with only wizards. And if I want only wizards, then this is a great way to do it.
But couldn't you just, in a nice way, couldn't you just have wizards and muggles, make it, legalize it that it's okay to be with, and just do it that way and people can feel love? You monster.
They do feel love.
Well, no, because when the babies you're basically breeding out muggles.
Yeah. With the love potion, they feel love. And then their kids don't feel love.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
See my plan here?
So you get a wizard and a muggle together, and they have a half-breed.
Oh, with Voldemort's history, I don't think he'd be open to mixing wizard blood with muggle blood, unfortunately.
So are you Voldemort?
Yes, in this case, I am Voldemort.
Oh,
I'm
okay. So
playing.
you're just saying what Voldemort could
Yeah,
have done
yeah.
differently, right?
I think it's important to point out that, when we're doing our domination formulations in these episodes, we're doing it as if we were the villain in the story.
I'm not a racist, people.
I do have a flaw in your plan, though, Cam.
Yes.
I'm sure many people out there can attest to this. Angry sex can still result in a kid.
Oh, God damn it. I forgot about that.
In fact, it's probably more likely
Oh, God.
in some instances.
Ooh. My plan is bad. Maybe I should just, make a potion that makes people impotent. Nah. Oh, well. I Expelliarmus your argument. Ha ha! Okay, that didn't work.
I think it has some legs.
Look, I think it would work. It's just a dick of a plan.
It's pretty dickish, yes. But, I'm just thinking, the guy's, so patient. He spent, 14 years coming back to life. He's...
Yeah.
And he's got
my plan's got patience in it too. I know, I get that. I get
and he's
that.
also his origin story sort of mixes well with how this could be, done. It's a love potion factory.
Okay.
Okay, so my plan is fairly simple. So, like I said earlier, my main problem with Voldemort is that he's so proud of himself. He thinks he's just king shit. He really needs to just be more pragmatic. So my plan is, instead of having all of these memorable objects that are very easily found, or like, hidden in memorable places with like fantastic protection, I'm making one of my Horcruxes some random fucking pebble, going out into the middle of the ocean without telling anyone where I'm going, and dropping it.
Oh no! Oh no!
I mean, yeah.
Yep, that works.
It does work. Like, I've got no questions about that. Voldemort, you're dumb. That's what you should have done.
Although that does mean that I can't die.
Ooh.
If I basically have to wait until the Earth is destroyed before I can die.
Yeah, but
Which is a long time
look, that
to
is
be
a long
alive.
time. Yeah,
I might
that's
get
true.
sick of it in a couple billion years.
Yeah, I get that.
But I guess with a couple billion years, I could like check all of the rocks.
What, like just drain them?
Just-
and-
Yeah,
Do them
just one at a time.
one
just
by
check all the
one.
rocks.
But you could probably do it. God, I don't know why I'm helping you. But you could probably do it that you know what pebble it is. Like, you can put it like so it's in a wall or something. Like a
No.
random place. But
No.
no, but like you could... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to
No,
help
it's
you.
got to be. It's got to be somewhere completely inaccessible.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, if it's
Yeah.
something that somebody totally had no idea, something totally random,
Yeah.
but you still knew where it was.
Well, no, that's the thing, because just being around these things can sometimes like have an effect on you. So I want it completely inaccessible.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree that, everything he chooses is like some sort of artifact or like some...
And like, there's a story reason for that. Like, it wouldn't be as interesting if you just picked some random rock and threw it in the middle of the ocean. Book 7
yeah.
would have been Harry Potter and the purchase of a scuba tank.
Or gillyweed.
Yeah, that's true. So what's your plan, Emma?
Okay. So my plan... Look, I'm not going to lie. Initially, I was thinking of it as what would I do, and then I thought, you know what? No, Voldemort was quite a patient man, as Ken said.
I
so
have, yes.
I have come up with a 7-step plan.
Ooh.
So basically, like, obviously he was quite upset growing up, but I'm thinking that instead of going, down the dark path of, fuck everybody and whatever, just play the game, play the long game, and step 1. Work your way into the government as a bureaucrat. And then step 2 is to become important enough that you're invited to, like international conferences and stuff. So you're around a lot of the world leaders and things like that. And then once you're in there, you use the Imperious Curse or a polyjuice potion to kind of get some of these guys under your control. So therefore, just after one of these meetings, nobody really, like, people know who you are, but they don't really. Then all of a sudden, you've got a bunch of different people throughout the world under your control. Step 3, once you got, I guess, those bureaucrats and stuff under your control, you go to the banks. Move to the banks and you do the same sort of thing. Because as we know, money runs the world. And then you can start to control things that way by, bankrupting certain places and things like that, or putting people under financial distress and things. So step 4, you can start to get a little bit more strategic, right? With a few couple of deaths here and there. Fuck with people a little bit more. So enough, I feel like in this, you want to cause enough panic and worry within the Muggle world, but not enough that there's an absolute full-blown war, right? And then at that point, he would be able to kind of change anything he wanted. He could, because he's got people under his power, he can change laws, he can change whatever he wants to do. And then, because all of this, so step 5, all of this, obviously the wizarding world is aware of everything that's going on. He's already got the muggles under his control. So at this point, he could work his way into the ministry, make a deal with the muggles and the wizards, climb to the top of a ministry, and then once he's running that, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, because even if the wizards in other countries start like saying what the fuck's going on, he's already got the muggles in those countries under his control.
Ooh.
And then step 6, I guess he could kind of get somebody to make him a philosopher's stone or something so he can stay alive and enjoy it for quite some time. And then step 7 is profit.
Woo! Profit!
Profit!
I mean, I'm
Profit.
sold on this plan already. There's profit.
Look, it's a long
long
plan, and
plan.
it's the long drawn out plan. But as you said, he was a very patient man, and I feel like this is, I guess, a nicer way to take over the world rather than just being like fuck everyone.
Except for that random bit where you just kill people for fun. Yeah.
Well, it's not really for fun, but I guess it's just to like cause their strategic deaths. I don't know.
You were... Yeah.
Look, it's Voldemort. He wants to kill people. He's
Fair
angry.
enough. So much angst.
Yeah.
So tell us more about your plan, Emma. Like, I'm noticing there's a fair few steps in there.
Yes. At which
Yeah.
point do you
7.
reveal that you're the mastermind behind everything?
I'd say probably around step 5 when you're looking to then start taking over the wizarding world.
Okay.
Because obviously, when you're in the Muggle world, you don't really want people to know that you're a wizard. But in the wizarding world, the more powerful, the more popular you are, the better off you are, I guess. So I guess that's kind of when it would come out that you're. But I guess the question that I have here, and this is me like kind of poking a hole in my own plan, is that I don't know whether there would ever come a time where in the wizarding world you would let the Muggles know that the wizarding world like existed.
No, there's there's an international like convention against that, and they say
No, I know, but I'm just saying like once you've like you're running it all, like whether. I don't know.
I think they briefly mentioned this in like the last Harry Potter books. It's like the reason Voldemort isn't openly killing Muggles left, right, and center is because if he did, the rest of the world would have to come in and stop him. As long as he doesn't do that, everybody else is kind of just fine to let it play out and not have to get involved.
Look, I think I think in my head, I think I was going off of that anyway. And I was thinking that, yes, it would just be, because I'm controlling, let's just say I'm in the UK. Let's just say, it's Voldemort, right? So he then, he's controlling the Prime Minister and the Queen or whoever he's bloody controlling. And then he starts getting into the ministry. And then he would create a deal between, like, whoever's at the top in the Muggle world and does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's so they would obviously be able to have a little bit more free roam, a little bit more whatever. But yeah, without the whole world being known that wizards exist. Wizards are real. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yep.
I mean, like, even the Dursleys knows that Harry's a wizard, so, that it's not that no one can know. It's more like
Well, I mean, Hermione's parents know.
No, they don't.
Oh, no, they don't.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
True. They don't even know about her.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah.
And, like, the Dursleys just get to, like, what? Where do the Dursleys fucking go? Like, the Dursleys are just like, I guess we'll go to Cornwall or something for a couple months. Just lay low. And Hermione is like, nope, you're not my parents anymore.
Oh.
So what happened to the aunt?
Who's aunt?
Just
You know how she's
floated away.
just floating off? Like, do we ever find out about her?
Auntie Marge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's fine.
She's fine. Oh, yeah, that's right. They fixed her up and made her
They
forget.
deflate her.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Okay. It's just like an off-the-cuff thing, isn't it?
Yep.
They're kind of just like, it happens all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man.
Who hasn't inflated their aunt?
All right, so who we voting for? I think I'm going to go with Jim
I'm going to go with Emma.
because Ken, yours is just...
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with Emma.
Woohoo!
Because Emma's is actually taking over the world, while Jim's is live forever. And
Can't even kill himself.
yeah,
Woohoo!
Mine is basically like the same plot as the rest of the books, but just like I make
Just
one
the smallest
Horcrux.
detail.
Just one Horcrux, make it a random fucking
Yeah.
pebble, so I can't die.
yeah, and even you questioned it, how you would find that pebble if you wanted to die. So I'm like,
Yeah.
But I feel like in that you
"Ah."
could just make one Horcrux. Nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
No, seven.
Seven.
Seven random pebbles.
So- oh my god, is this Dragon Ball?
Oh,
Yep.
God. Anyway, I win.
Yay!
win,
Congratulations,
I win.
Emma.
Yay!
Well done, Emma.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It was well deserved, I know.
So welcome to the end of the show, everyone. Anyone who's still listening.
Hi, Mom.
So we just have some housekeeping stuff before we let you all go at the end of class today.
Hey.
Get off your phone, Jim.
First off is our next episode is going to be on the one, the only, Shrek.
Woohoo!
Our next episode is going to be on Shrek, and then we'll have a few more other episodes. Like I said earlier, we did have an announcement about our social media accounts. So,
Well, this season is all about the people. We really want to hear from everyone. We've been getting some, I guess, chats and feedback and stuff off friends offline, but we really want to hear from everybody who's listening. We really want everybody to to actually get onto the socials and at us. So I think, we've come up with a few different ideas around in our fantasy season. We've got Harry Potter tonight, Shrek next week, which I'm very excited about. Woo! I'm sure we'll have a few other very excited listeners. Who doesn't love Shrek?
He is love.
He is life.
Shrek is love. What we've decided is that, each of our seasons we've got 5 episodes, and we want to hear from you as to what you, our avid listeners, our fans,
even the casual listeners, I don't care.
Anybody. If people just finding us on Instagram or Twitter.
I care about all of you.
Strolling on in. We want to hear from you guys as to your ideas about what we should talk about for our final episode of season 2, keeping with the fantasy themes. So we'll be posting on Twitter as well as Instagram. So we'll have our handles and everything in the show notes. Jim will put those in. But yeah, we want to hear your suggestions. And prior to I think probably, what do you think, guys? The 3rd episode in? We'll put up a bit of a poll.
Yeah, I'd say when the 3rd episode goes up of this season, we'll put up the poll.
Yeah. Viewers' choice. You can at all of us online. So for both Twitter and Instagram, it's at WellDonePodcast. And the email address is welldomepod@gmail.com.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's hard to get handles on Twitter these days. We're 10 years late to the party, unfortunately.
Yep, if one of you fans actually reserved Well Done Pod for us, then please let us know.
Look, it is what it is.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Like we said, don't forget to let us know what you'd like our 5th episode to be about.
And please like, subscribe, and send us through any feedback. We love to hear from you guys. And thank you again, Mr. Anonymous, or Mrs. Anonymous, sorry.
Or Miss Anonymous. Hey there, how you doing?
But thank you for writing in. We look forward to many, many other letters. Cool.
It's been fun talking to you guys tonight. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to World Domination. You can find links to all the things we talked about, our other episodes, or leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/worlddomination. If you'd prefer to talk to us non-verbally, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at WorldDomPodcast, or you can email worlddompod@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to tell your mum about it.